Hey guys, it's me, Rena from Crochet. In today's video, I gotta play catch up. So, I am still working on the SIRDAR Halloween crochet along. It is Sunday, and week 5 is already out, but I still need to finish week 4 because I just fell behind. I had to travel and I just hadn't been focusing my attention on it, so I want to kind of play some catch up. I want to, at minimum, finish the tapestry today, and I think I can if I just focus my energy on it. I'm about halfway through, so that helps. And in week 5, there's more tapestry, but I think that tapestry is a little bit easier than week 4's. And I think on Wednesday, week 6 will be revealed, but I don't think I'll be able to get to that this week at all. So without further ado, I guess I'll start crocheting. Okay, so here's my update on the tapestry. I'm almost done. I just have to finish these letters and then I'll be done with this tapestry. But I'm gonna take a break now because I should probably cook dinner or something. I just finished the tapestry and it took forever. Oh my gosh, this is exciting. So this is a little short though, like it's both too short and too narrow according to the directions on the pattern. So I think I might have to steam block this a little bit. I'm thinking I'll block it after I finish everything. Now, for week 5, my predictions were completely correct. It is the blood splatter tapestry portion. I didn't study the pattern too closely, but you essentially do a single crochet border around this, and then you add the tapestry on top and on the bottom in the sides. I think I'm going to do that, and then what I'm going to do is see if I can steam block all that together once I finish week 5's portion. Another thing that I didn't realize is that technically this tapestry, you add surface crochet baubles on it. However, I don't really like the surface crochet baubles that the original creator had, so I'm gonna skip it, especially for this piece. I actually think how this looks is great. Like, this looks great. There's no problems with here. But the blood splatter, I think, might actually benefit from the surface crochet baubles, so I think I'll do it for that, but not for this. But yeah, I need to start working on the blood splatters now, week 5. So maybe I can get that done? Ooh, that'd be cool if I'm able to get that done like today or tomorrow. That'd be awesome, because found out I have another business trip next week. Fun times, isn't it? At least it's next week instead of this week, but you know, whatever. I'm also going to conveniently wait to weave in these ends until a later date. I'm also totally ignoring some of the unwoven ends here too. I also haven't sewn on details yet, but you know, I'll do that later. I'll probably do that on the last week update. Okay, so I'm working on week 5's portion of the pattern, which starts with this black border. But I will say one weird thing is that instead of just putting a stitch in every single row of the side, you do some stitches in every row, but then you also skip a couple of stitches. And I think that's really weird. I don't know how I feel about that at all, honestly. So that's a little odd. I'm still gonna do it, but I have to like pay more attention to doing the single crochet border here, because it's not like you put a stitch in every single row. It's you put like 3 stitches, then skip a row, and then do another 4 or something like that. I'm sure it's done that way to keep like a stitch count intact or something, but I don't like it. Okay, I was getting so tired of this piece like warping everywhere, I decided to steam block it, and it looks so much better. I also added this top part here. I need to do the 4 sides later, but instead of doing surface bobbles, I decided to just do like popcorn puff stitch in place of like the little surface bobble places, so that way I didn't have to weave in extra ends. But yeah, I prefer that method better over having to do it later. And yeah, I'm just going to keep working on this now until the bloody border is done. Hey guys, I'm back from not 1, but 2 business trips. The first one I knew was going to happen, but the second one was kind of a more surprise business trip. So I wasn't able to get much done on the blanket, but now that I am back, this is the progress that I have made. Oh, I have both the top and the bottom bloody border. I just need to do the sides. And let me show you what I did differently compared to the original pattern. The original pattern has you do the tapestry, but you just do surface bobbles for these parts right here. What I did is, instead of doing surface bobbles, because I didn't want to weave in extra ends, I just did a mixture of both puff and bobble stitches on these. So whenever there is a spot on the graph that indicates you do a surface bobble, I would just do like a puff or bobble stitch instead. How I would do it would change depending on whether this would happen on the right side or the wrong side. That way I don't have to weave in as many ends, and I just don't like doing surface bobbles personally for me. So yeah, that's it. The tapestry is a lot easier, mainly because it's only 8 rows instead of like 80 rows. So it's a lot easier to do this versus this chart. One thing to note on the graphs for week 5 is that they actually remembered to put right hand and left hand instructions. It did take me a little while to kind of like figure out like which one was right-handed, which one was left-handed for me, especially on the side ones, because I was like, wait, what? But once I visualized it, it was fine. But they actually remembered it this time, which is good. I can tell that they learned their lesson from last time. I'm actually going to be leaving for vacation. I'm going to Houston to see my family in like a couple days. So I kind of debated whether I wanted to bring this with me to Houston, and I have decided I think I will bring this blanket with me, and I'll see if I can try and finish it while I'm down in Houston for a week, because unlike me traveling for business, where I'm only there for a couple of days and I only have time to myself in the hotel room or flying in the air, I will actually have time to properly sit down and work on this. Normally, blankets are not plane friendly or travel friendly, but since I actually will be traveling and properly relaxing, you know, in one area for a week instead of a couple days, I think I might just bring it with me. So I'm going to pack up some parts of this kit with me right now. Also, I actually started the second skein of white. I know after I finish the bloody border, there is a layer of this purple color around that to kind of tie it all together. But this is how much I have of the first purple skein. I have another one sitting in the box still, but you know, not bad. I will have plenty of purple left. So I will say this kit gives you plenty of yarn. Probably more yarn than I needed. I was a little worried I wasn't gonna have enough of all the colors, but seems like I didn't have to worry about that after all, so I guess I could have done something different in the week 3 part, but it's whatever at this point, it's already done. Okay, I have finished the bloody border for this blanket, yay. I am choosing not to do the surface crochet bobbles on the outside, mainly because I don't want to weave in extra ends. That is complete. So the next step I have to do is this outline in purple. But the thing is, I kind of wanted to experiment in connecting the other parts using join as you go instead of sewing it together. And I have already packed my other parts in my suitcase for when I fly out tomorrow. So I will be doing that part, not now, essentially. But yeah, I'm pretty excited with how this turned out. I know it's like meant to be big, but I'm also just shocked by how much it grew when I added this, right? I don't know, it's like something about it just shocks me, even though I shouldn't be surprised. Okay, I'm at my sister's place and my nephew finally went to sleep, but basically I started on the purple border of week 5, and it was a little confusing at first because it said start at the, right hand blood curdling border. And at first I thought it started like midway through, and just again, how it was worded on this one was kind of odd, but then I finally figured it out. So basically you start at that the topmost right hand corner, which is technically the one of the rows of the right hand blood curdling border, and then you do 2 single crochets, and then 1, and then another 2, and then you just crochet across. It has you skip stitches in rows for whatever reason, but only on this one. But yeah, it's not my favorite. It took me a while to figure it out, but I figured it out. Editing Rena here. So here I am showcasing how I do the join as you go method and connecting the other squares and pieces of this blanket. I will just show you here. You stick your hook into your stitch doing a standard double crochet, and when you have the loop left on your hook, you take out your hook, stick it into the front of your piece that you want to connect, pull that loop through, and then just repeat over and over again. And that is how you do join as you go. It is my personal favorite method of joining literally anything, so highly recommend you try it out, and doing it this way prevents me from having to sew everything together. Okay, update on the blanket. I finished joining these parts to the blanket. I just have the stitch marker connecting the corners of the squares, but I joined the side panels with join as you go. It wasn't perfect, so I kind of fudged the corners a little bit, but it still works, whatever. So I just need to sew the squares to the panels on the sides, and then I can get started on the border. But overall, it looks pretty good. Hi, I'm at my sister's place. I haven't really filmed a proper update, I guess, in a while, and so I want to show you my update on the SIRDAR crochet along blanket. I have already put together everything, so, it's all good. I'm working on the border now. And now, obviously, in my original prediction, I predicted week 6 would be the border, and I was right.
Yay! So it sounds like I was right about basically all my predictions, which makes me happy and also makes me feel like super big brained and superior and all that stuff. And it's totally inflating my ego. But now that I'm working on the border, okay, first off, you have to do a bunch of double crochets around, and because there are so many stitches around, because it's a blanket, I had to use stitch markers to mark how many stitches I had, because I can't count over 20. So basically I would count 20 stitches, put a stitch marker, count another 20 stitches, and I think then I was able to get the proper stitch count of like 163 on one side and 183 on the other side. And what made it interesting is that on one side with the 163 stitches, it was like you would put 2 double crochets in this corner space right here of the square, and on the other side you only put 1 double crochet, so it wasn't consistent, but I think it's kind of that way so that way the math worked out. Like, it makes it inconvenient for the sake of trying to like not have to memorize the pattern or not have to read the pattern, but it makes more sense for math reasons. So I get it, but it's annoying. The pumpkins are going to take me forever because it is using this puff stitch, like this modified puff stitch. And the color change for it, it's interesting because instead of like switching colors like you would a normal way, you keep that color on your hook and then you do like the yarn over like puff stitch like a gajillion times. And I will say, I'm not a big fan of puff stitches, so this is like kind of my least favorite part right now because I hate puff stitches. So far, because the math works out, it's fairly simple at least. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep working on this and I'll show you the results later. Also keep in mind, because I'm at my sister's place, I have to keep quiet because I think my nephew is taking a nap, and I think for everyone's sanity, we don't want a crying baby. Now, another thing on the border, I'd be shocked if I got to this by this point because I'm like halfway through my trip to Houston, is that there's like a cobweb border. So the pattern reads that you basically make the border and then you sew it on, which I don't know about you, I think that's dumb. I don't want to do that. So I'm gonna look around and see once I get there. I'm gonna see if I can figure out how to not have that be a thing I have to make and then sew on. So I'll check in later.
A little bit of a side note, but my nephew really liked the green yarn, and so he has ripped the label of my unused skein. So I'm gonna have to clean that up later.
Hey there, I'm home now. I have returned from Houston and let me show you my blanket. How do I do the social media thing where everyone like rolls up their blanket and just shows this big reveal? Let me do that real quick. Yay! I'm not completely done with it though. I still need to do like the cobwebs and add on the details and all that, but that's gonna be in a different video that isn't this one. So I will be ending my video here. Thank you for watching. I hope you had some kind of fun watching me travel while doing this. I'm glad I was able to, work on it while I was not home. So that was nice. I got quite a bit done. This pumpkin border took forever, but you know what? That's okay. Thank you for watching. And let me know down in the comments, are you working on this blankets crochet along? Also, I think just today they announced the Christmas crochet along. Are you planning on doing that crochet along? I am not, but are you? With that, see you next time. Bye!